Celebrating 47 years on the air, award-winning Farmweek is a production of Mississippi State University Extension.
Today on Farmweek, the 89th annual meeting of the Delta Council. Mississippi's governor strikes an inspiring tone. Plus, at MSU, a state-of-the-art vet clinic, Zach, takes a tour. In the markets, a detailed look at rural broadband and how it's likely to boost the ag economy. And in our encore feature, one young lady says 4-H made all the difference in the world. Farmweek starts right now.
Hello everyone, I'm Zach Ashmore.
And I'm Mike Russell. Great to have you with us again here on Farm Week. In the Mississippi Delta, perhaps the most fertile soil in the world, miles and miles of corn, soybeans, and rice. But a few days ago, all eyes were glued to the stage at Delta State's Performing Arts Center. There, Governor Tate Reeves struck an energetic and optimistic tone at this year's Delta Council meeting.
Something really special is happening in Mississippi right now, and people from all over the world are noticing.
Reeves had done his homework. In a keynote speech that spanned 40 minutes, he addressed the difficult challenges ahead for the council, but focused far more intently on what he sees as the economic possibilities for this 19-county ag powerhouse.
The winning in our state when it comes to economic development is not just confined to the 1st and the 3rd and the 4th congressional districts. It's actually happening right here in the Delta, too.
Opportunities aside, it was this point that triggered a response from so many of the war-weary Delta farmers in the audience.
The fact is, we need to share our story more for more people around the world. The Delta and all of Mississippi has a message worth sharing.
Telling the story and telling it better. That caught the ear of the new head of MSU Extension, Angus Catchot. He's preached that idea for months and says it'll serve the Delta the same way it serves Extension.
Well, I picked up on that instantly because that is something we're saying commonly now with Extension. But it gravitates out throughout the whole state. Mississippi needs to tell its story as well. We're starting with Extension, and I was really happy to hear the governor say the same thing and echo the same thing we're doing.
I think we have opportunities in the timber industry. I think we have opportunities in the value-added agriculture, and I think we can be a part of that future that he was talking about.
It does open the eyes to people that are not familiar with our state. If they want to come into our state, relocate to our state, do business with our state, I think it's incredibly important. And also it's an exciting time when we're moving the needle in the state of Mississippi. And also I think that the Mississippi State Extension Service plays a part in that, and I think we are helping move that needle.
This was the 89th annual meeting of the Delta Council. Its work is carried on through a comprehensive system that represents virtually every phase of the economy in the Delta's 19 counties.
Here at Mississippi State, we have a well-known vet school that graduates some of the most well-experienced students in the country. So, how do they do it? What makes the MSU Vet School so special? One of the ways is a fully functioning animal clinic staffed by both professors and students.
The College of Veterinary Medicine at Mississippi State is considered one of the best in the country, and one of the reasons for it is the walk-in clinic on site, where students get the chance to both learn about common pet issues and get hands-on experience with them. Dr. Jesse Grady is one of several professors helping these future veterinarians.
An average day is hard to actually pin down because there's often nothing average about each day in a small animal general practice, both in the private sector as well as in a teaching hospital. We will see a number of cases ranging the gamut from routine annual wellness care. That includes things like vaccination, parasite prevention, nutrition, and maybe even behavioral consultations. We also see a number of sick animals that belong to members of our community, both faculty, students, and those in the surrounding communities that aren't affiliated with the university at all. We also do outpatient surgical procedures, all the things that a general practice in the private sector would do, because our goal is to, while working alongside third-year students, really emulate what those experiences are going to be like for them after they graduate.
The type of patients that come in through the CVS rotation are typically what you would call general practice, and oftentimes it's vaccine appointments, it's young puppies and kittens that have to have all of their different vaccines updated. Sometimes we'll see patients come in with itching or lumps or bumps on them that they'd like us to evaluate, kind of see what we want their next steps to be. It's been very interesting to have volunteered and worked in other clinics in my free time, and maybe not necessarily knowing why the doctor did something or how a decision was made. But now that I've been on this rotation, I'm learning all of the things that go into this decision-making process, and it's very exciting.
It's the amount of experience vet students receive at MSU that sets it apart from other universities. Not just in understanding the diseases and cures, but the day-to-day record keeping and best management practices required to succeed.
Both Dr. Grady and Morgan said to me that the MSU Vet School was special and that the experience students get is invaluable in the private sector. Next week, we'll look at the large animal side of the vet school.
Every year, MSU Extension will host tons of field days. Recently in Brooksville, Mississippi, a speed planting demonstration captured the imagination of the 80 or so people who attended. On a very windy day, I might add. They got to see planting at 12 miles an hour and the demo of a high-tech autonomous tractor.
We're all in a big rush to get as many acres planted as possible in the spring. And the faster you can cover those acres, the more acreage you're planting in the optimal planting window. For soybean, outside that window, you get a yield loss of 0.4 bushels per acre per day. At $12 beans, that's $4.80 every acre, every day you plant after May 1. Plant fast, you'll increase your yield because you're in that optimal planting window.
One of the things that's unique here is just the fact that we're here in this black belt prairie region, so the soil conditions and farming practices are a little bit different from other parts of the state. So what we hope is that our growers from this area will come here so they can gain information that's valuable and more targeted toward their production systems and the way that they farm.
The United States has an excellent extension system for moving research technology into farmers' hands. We are the global leader in extension and how to make those technology transfers work. So extension is absolutely critical to what we do. Otherwise, we're doing research in a vacuum and it wouldn't do the farmers any good. We're here to work for the farmers. We need them. They need extension.
In Southern Gardening this week, Eddie Smith says it's a showstopper. He's in the south end of Mississippi for a look at an impressive climbing flower that blooms in nearly 400 varieties. Here's Eddie.
Southern Gardening is in Picayune, Mississippi at the home of Kay Klein, admiring her beautiful varieties of clematis growing in her landscape. Let's take a closer look at some of these plants. Clematis Josephine is a true showstopper with its large lilac-based petals of 5 inches that surround pom-pom centers of pink lilac. Its base petals fall away with age to leave fluffy centers. This premium variety is at the forefront of clematis breeding. Form and coloration are truly breathtaking. Another beauty in Kay's landscape is Whistly clematis. This impressive variety blooms with plenty dark purple to violet colored flowers that can get 6 inches wide. Noted for its sheer abundance of blooms, Luther Burbank clematis produces many large, violet purple, open star flowers 6 to 8 inches across. The attractive blooms are blessed with 6 rounded, wavy-edged sepals that nearly overlap at the base but draw apart and crimp downward as they expand. They also make a lovely prominent tuft of pale yellow stamens, adding to the visual interest of the blooms. If you are looking for a dramatic color, Ernest Markham clematis, with its vibrant magenta flowers, with a frilly center of golden anthers would be a great choice. The flowers definitely stand out in the landscape with their backdrop of green foliage. Train any of these clematis on an arbor, fence, or trellis, or allow them to climb through shrubbery to create an excellent vertical effect in the landscape. As you can see, clematis vines can definitely add interest and appeal to any landscape. I'm Eddie Smith, and I will see you next time on Southern Gardening.
We'll take a quick break right here, but stick around. Coming up on our Farm Week feature, an inspiring encore. A young girl doing big things for one so young. She was 11 years old, but you'd never know it. In just a year, 4-H'er Peyton Bell had come far. She was young but driven, and she'd earned a bushel of awards that proved she loved what she was doing. The rest of what they call her goat village was right there too, helping her roll with the punches. The sweet story of a young girl who lit up the show ring, coming up on Farm Week. Don't go away.
Here's this week's Farm Week calendar. First, in your home, are you ready to make a positive impact on the planet while saving on energy? Want to learn how to reduce waste and improve home energy efficiency? Come to Make Your Home Sustainable Monday, June 24th at 11 a.m. at Rick's Memorial Library in Yazoo City. The program is free and you'll learn tons. Sign the Sustainable Home Pledge and get a yard sign. For more info, call Sharon Nettles at 601-497-9884. Next, investigating coastal biodiversity, a conservation and restoration camp for kids 14 through 18, July 8 through 12 at Camp Wilkes in Biloxi. The camp is free and includes accommodations, all meals, and all activities. Participants will learn about coastal biodiversity and ecosystems, working with scientists from Germany and Mississippi. Spots are limited. Register on the MSU Extension website. And that's the Farm Week calendar for this week.
I believe in people and their hopes, their aspirations, and their faith. I believe in intellectual freedom to search for and present the truth without bias and with courteous tolerance toward the views of others. I believe that education is a lifelong process and the greatest university is the home. That my success as a teacher is proportional to those qualities of mind and spirit that give me welcome entrance to the homes of the families I serve. Because I believe these things, I am an extension professional.
Time for the market report. Once again, prices slipping down.
That they are, and we're going to look into that along with some rural broadband impact. But first, the numbers. What were last week's biggest gains and losses? And then a closer look into rural broadband and its impact on the business side of farming. So, markets closed last Friday, still trending down with a few exceptions. Let's take a look. Last week's biggest gain, sugar, up nearly 3/4 cent, a near 4% increase from the previous week. Last week's biggest loss, wheat, down 51 cents, a near 8% decrease from the previous week. Rural broadband, the move to bring high-speed internet to rural communities all across the U.S. It's been an ongoing project for years with much progress. With that progress comes an opportunity for ag producers to help their bottom lines. MSU ag economist Devin Mills sat down with me to discuss these opportunities. So you're involved with getting broadband to rural areas in the state. Tell us about that, please.
So a lot of money recently has gone into bringing broadband to areas in Mississippi that do not currently have it. There's been a lot of money from COVID relief funding going into Mississippi and also all the states across the country into developing broadband infrastructure, bringing it to unserved populations, and we're going to see in the next few years a lot of development in that space, bringing broadband to places and people who do not have it currently.
Well, you are an economist, so how is getting broadband to rural areas helping their economy?
So broadband is so important for our rural areas. As we know nowadays, everything is done online, from e-commerce, so purchasing things online, education. A lot of people are taking classes online to further their education, get advanced degrees. Telehealth is a big thing post-COVID, so doctor's visits online, so all that helps the rural economy. And also for our rural areas that are farming dependent, ag is becoming increasingly technology dependent and intensive, so having a strong broadband connection on the farms for farmers helps them stay up to date with the latest technologies and increase the productivity on their operations.
Well, what does the broadband situation look like across Mississippi?
So in Mississippi right now, so our latest data that came out in December 2023 showed that across Mississippi around 20% of Mississippians do not have broadband at their residence. So when I say broadband, that's high-speed internet with 100 megabit per second download speed and a 20 megabit per second upload speed. So if you're interested in seeing what your internet speed is at your house, of course, when you get a subscription, your internet service provider should tell you what your speed is about to be, but you could also do a speed test on your home.
We also know that Mississippi is a bit of a microcosm of what's going on in other states in the U.S. So how similar is Mississippi to other states with this broadband issue?
So Mississippi has always historically lagged behind our neighboring states in terms of broadband access. So that's why it's really great and really important that we're getting all this funding into our state to build out broadband infrastructure. So with the Broadband Equity Access and Deployment Program, it's shortened BEAD, that's what they call it. So we're getting $1.2 billion across Mississippi to build out broadband infrastructure to all our unserved locations. So that's really great funding.
So does this also include fiber?
Yes. So under the BEAD program, so that's that $1.2 billion pot of money, fiber is the preferred technology for internet service providers to build out to these unserved locations. People across the state might have been seeing fiber being built out in their towns and by their homes, on their streets. That's when people are oftentimes digging up the ground in front of your house and laying those fiber optic cables. Fiber has become the gold standard of broadband technology in recent years. It's really reliable, it's really fast, and it's kind of what people are looking to get in their homes. But of course, if fiber is not available to people, there's a bunch of other technologies that can get broadband to their house.
And that leads to an interesting logistical question. If they're going to be running fiber underneath the ground, I suppose they've got to be very careful to avoid fields for all the tilling.
Yes. So our internet service providers are working along our city planners, and making sure that the fiber lines aren't hitting, sewer, electric, any kind of existing infrastructure. So they're being careful to map out and make sure that the broadband lines aren't going to be affecting any sort of utilities.
Well, if you're in a rural community and you're looking at getting broadband to your community, where can they go to get that information?
So our state broadband office, it's a recently started office. It started in late 2022. They're overseeing all of this broadband infrastructure and all of this broadband funding that's going into Mississippi. They're located in Jackson. They're the Broadband Expansion and Accessibility Office of Mississippi. BEAM is their acronym. And their website, broadbandms.com. That's where you can go to do your speed test. And you can also figure out where funding is and then where unserved and served locations in the state are with regards to broadband.
And that's it for a deeper look into the markets. Mike?
Thanks, Zach. No question, 4-H is a time of happy memories for many of our country's kids. For one young lady, though, it was also a time of extraordinary growth. From Extension producer Brian Utley, an encore presentation of Extension Matters.
Peyton Bell is outstanding. She's dedicated, she's hardworking, and she just has the brightest personality.
That's what the judges always comment about her. They was like, I didn't see you until you smiled. And once she smiles, she has your attention.
Everybody at the show love her and they cheer for her, and when she win, everybody cheering. So we're very, very proud of her.
I enjoy seeing these kids grow into this and getting at the front of that line. It takes initiative. You have to want it. And she's wanted it from day one.
They ask me what do I do. I tell them that I was showing goats. And most people think I roped them, but I tell them that I groomed them and walked them and positioned them. And I enjoy being their friends.
I raise and show dairy goats, and whenever I met them, they were ready to raise and show dairy goats. Peyton's grandfather come to me and talked to me about getting his granddaughter into agriculture, and I told him that let's do it. You know, it's nothing to it but to do it. And she's done really well with that.
Once I bought the goat, her and her dad decided they wanted to show the goat. And I said, show the goat? I don't know. She said, well, I'd like to show him, Granddaddy. I said, well, okay, we'll see about it. And of course, we went to the 4-H people and found that they do show goats.
And then we always have to know all the parts to the goat, from the muzzle to the tail, every part.
After getting with Miss Deidre, and Miss Deidre worked with her on showing and the procedure and methods of showing, my granddaughter, she's very sharp. She learned very, very well. And we try to teach her the right way and try to teach her to do it the right way every time.
Now you want to put this front leg straight down, make it straight down.
Miss Deidre, she showed me how to clip them, she showed me how to wash them, she showed me how to maneuver them around us.
That's right, give it a high five. That's good.
When I prepare the goats for the shows, I have to make sure that they stay fed. But it doesn't matter how big their stomachs are, it depends on the udder. So they have to have enough milk in their udder. That's how they mostly win. And then I also walk them around so they'll know how it feels to walk around the pen. And I also have to keep them brushed and washed. I always go upwards. And then once you go upwards, then brush. Upwards, brush, upwards, brush.
From the very first show that she ever did, she placed second in showmanship in a matter of 5 minutes of her doing it, you know, from the very first time. And of course, a lot of that came from prepping with Deidre and her daughter Tori. And we had some of the extension personnel come down and do, you know, just teaching and, you know, helping them to learn in the process, and it all paid off.
Parents can't do it for them. When they're out in that show ring, it's that kid, that goat, and that judge, and it's up to them. And they have to know all the parts, all the breeds. I mean, it's a lot of things that they have got to know to get that first place position.
But whenever you're 8 or 9 years old and you get this first place for showmanship, showmanship is seeing how good you do, not how good you do.
Do you know how many total you have?
No, I don't.
It's a bunch.
Yeah. I know I have 3 big ribbons and a plaque in the middle. On my first show, I got second place in showmanship. So it felt good to see how when you put your best effort forward, then you'll win something in return.
From the very beginning, she kind of just grabbed onto it and ran with it. So from there, it's kind of where we are now. We have Alpine, we have Taco Burger, we have St. E's, we have a variety of them now.
You know more about goats than you ever thought that you would?
More than I ever wanted to know. I know way more than I need to know about goats at this point.
They're at every single event, whether it's a clinic or it's a show. Her family supports her 100%. They're cheering her on, they're holding her animals, they're helping her clean her animals, feed, water, whatever it is Peyton needs. They're there to support her for that.
Everybody that you see here now, and it's usually my mom and dad as well, and then sometimes her uncle will come. It actually is, we have this many people everywhere we go. We really do. It is a family affair. We're her little goat village.
It means a lot to me that they support me, because most of my family supports me no matter what, even if it was goats or anything. So that makes me feel good to know that they care.
I wholeheartedly appreciate the 4-H, the extension program, the whole process, because she's pretty much growing up before my eyes every day, so I live for it. I always want to see her smile. And then she's really, really, really independent, and she learns and does things a lot on her own.
What would you say the one characteristic maybe that has improved in you through this? I mean, there's a lot of things.
Responsibility.
I value the extension in the livestock program because our kids need direction. Our kids need values. I mean, you can't go wrong whenever you're teaching them work and responsibility, and I mean, that's what life is all about.
The greatest aspect about the livestock project is we're not just creating kids that can go out there and show an animal in the ring. We're creating leaders, kids that can be successful and create a really bright future.
It's just a very proud moment. She's gonna go somewhere. She's gonna be somebody.
She really is somebody. Amazing young lady. Well, next time on Farm Week, a different kind of story. We travel back to a heartbreak tornado on an Easter Sunday in Walthall County, Mississippi.
They were close to the land, loving it, they say, with all their hearts. But when they looked outside, they thought a bomb had gone off. Like that, they lost 200 acres of timber.
But they recovered, and with this county agent's help, they learned more about just how extension matters. That's next time on Farm Week.
Remember, if you missed a story, look for past episodes of Farm Week on our website at farmweek.tv.
And don't forget to follow us on Facebook and YouTube. See you next week. Thanks for watching.